Samuran, guys. So by now we've probably all seen that video of the off-duty police officer who shot and killed the off-duty JMPD cop. And there's so many people that have been asking me what my views, my thoughts around that shooting and what I think will come of it. So it's no secret. I have zero faith in the South African law. I have zero faith in the police officers in JMPD. The corruption in this country is just disgusting. Yes, I've got friends who are police officers, many. I've got friends who are JMPD, many. But again, I've still had many shit experiences. I've had many shit experiences with police officers. I've made many shit experiences with JMPD. Being harassed on the side where you can see some of these guys are just looking for a bribe. They're asking you for something stupid like, "Able trying is too." Like now you want 50 rand nyana for nickel drinky for nothing. Guy who's gonna say you're driving at 80 in a residential, and I was like, bro, I was driving at 50. I don't even know what the hell you're on about. So I've been harassed like everyone else. And I've met many of these guys who are incredibly arrogant, who are incredibly aggressive, who are angaz, which is what some of the guys think they are. Yes, many are amazing. Many of our police officers are amazing. They just happen to be understaffed and work for a system that is just fucked up. Many of the guys who work in the JMPD are amazing and just work in a system that happens to be fucked up. With that being said, regarding the video, so let's look at the legality around it. So again, I'm no lawyer, I'm no legal fundi, I'm just someone who happens to carry a firearm legally. So the legality of it, when can I use my firearm for deadly force? So you've got the first one, which is very technical. It looks at statutory provision. So you as a citizen, if you see a criminal act, you can then arrest someone as a citizen. If that individual, that criminal is trying to flee, and you believe or there's evidence which they might go and hurt someone else, then you may neutralize that person. Or if that criminal is then resisting an arrest in a very aggressive manner, then you may use force. But that part of the law is very technical. So I would advise that you go and speak with someone who's qualified and someone who's an expert in that field around statutory provisions on when you can use deadly force. The one that we speak about is the one where you neutralize someone in self-defense. And this one, I think people tend to not understand when you're pulling out your firearm. Guys, you pull out your firearm if your life is at risk, or if you deem that your life is at risk. Meaning, if I'm in an altercation with someone and we're busy arguing over soccer or whatever the case is, and the argument gets heated and this person slaps me and walks away, my life is not at risk at that point. There's nothing that I'm scared of or panicking about, because he slapped me, I was like, walks away. That is not time for me to pull out my firearm. But if the individual starts making his way in an assertive manner, pulling out a knife, a panga, a firearm, then any reasonable man will assume that this person is putting my life at risk. At that point, that individual can get neutralized. Excuse me. If I am getting violently attacked to the point where the only way to stop this attack is by using deadly force, then the law will provide me. If a guy slaps me and goes away, that's not deadly force. That force is not violent enough, for me to pull out my firearm. And he walked away. However, again, if the only way to stop this attack is by using my firearm, that is me in self-defense. Understand that as a licensed carrying or a law-abiding citizen in terms of carrying my firearm, I can also use my firearm to protect myself, my loved ones, but I can also protect any other citizen. So if I'm driving past and I see an individual with a baseball bat stepping the shit out of Ukoko Dlamini on the side, and he's stepping the shit out of her, I will stop my car and I will neutralize him, because she has the right to live. And the only way that I can stop that violent attack is by neutralizing him, because he's carrying a baseball bat, and if I get closer, I might get attacked and I might die. So that's another reason to use your firearm. Understand what self-defense is. Understand what self-defense is. So if a person is pulling out a knife, pulling out some weapon, pulling out a gun, and they have carried themselves in a way which I'm feeling in danger, I will neutralize them. Going back to the cop and the JMPD, the JMPD is carrying a firearm. He's waving it outside. He's carrying it. Everyone who's watched that video sees the gun. He goes around this way and he's aggressively. There's another gentleman and who's stopping the door, and he hits this guy here, and he comes around. That guy, to me, who is not an expert or professional or a legal person, to me is showing intent. What he wants to use his weapon, and he wants to shoot whoever's inside the car, and he wants to shoot whoever's inside the car. Understand, because people are like, why didn't he drive away? Hey, a bullet goes through a window very easy. Very, very easy. So just because the guy might be like, oh, let me drive off. What happens if the guy decided to put 3 or 4 through the window? Then what? The glass wouldn't have saved them. Jeez, even some of these cars that we drive these days, they're so weak. The bullet will go right through and still kill the guy. So really, him driving away was not an option at that time. The only option that I believe the guy had was to neutralize this individual who's carrying a gun. This individual who clearly wanted to attack him using the gun that he's carrying. So my 2 cents around this is, I believe that if the law comes, or when the law comes, there's enough evidence to show that the guy who was in the inside, this off-duty police officer, was in all right to defend his life by neutralizing the JMPD guy who was on the outside carrying a gun. That's what I believe. Again, we live in South Africa. Anything can happen. But again, if the law is true and if the law is fair and just, the ex-police will then not go into prison. And if they do take him in, he'll pay bail. He'll win the case, or all the charges will drop, and he'll get his bail money back. It is again unfortunate that someone lost life. It is unfortunate to that individual, his loved one, his family. We wish it never ever got to that point. We wish we went old school, and it was one of these. Get out of the car, let me show you one of these. And guys just went for a 5-second wrestle, twist each other's nipples. How's your mom? Bang bang. They separated. That male ego is now put aside. They carry on going inside. They share a beer as friends, and we move on. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. A life was lost. It is very, very unfortunate that a life is lost. But when it comes to the law and when it comes to self-defense, I believe that the police officer did what he dealt and he thought at that time was right. Understand, a lot of these decisions are happening, split-second decisions. For us, who are sitting at home, who's sitting in our own spaces, who've got all the time in the world, who we can debate and use reason and logic, it's a different story for us. A guy in that situation has a split second to make a decision. If he makes a wrong decision, his life is gone. His life is gone. So he needs to make a decision that is best for him, and at that point he believes, and I believe, that he made the right decision. With all this said, ladies, men, whoever's watching this of legal age, make sure that you go to your local gun store and you start the process of acquiring a firearm legally. Yes, it may be costly, but it is worth it. We unfortunately live in a very, 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 very horrible country where a lot of these type of things happen. Not just unknown Mapara can pull out weapons to you. Police officers can and do pull out weapons. And you must understand that if a person dressed in a uniform pulls out a weapon on me, I'm shooting to kill. I don't know for a fact that that person is a police officer. We live in a time where many people impersonate police officers, many people impersonate JMPDs, they pretend all in the name of crime. So I wouldn't know. If I feel that my life is at risk, I too will also do what is best at that time to defend my life as legally as I can. So the first thing that I need you guys to do after this video is start doing your own research. Start the legal process of acquiring a firearm, teaching yourself, going to a gun store, let them teach you and ensure that you carry your firearm on your person. I carry my firearm 24/7 to ensure that if my life or someone else's life is in risk, I can then step in and defend. I am not a Robocop. I am not a Robin Hood. I am not some special forces guy. I'm just one guy who's trying to do good by society, hoping that the next good guy also does the same, and the next good guy, and the next good guy, and we get into a society where everybody looks after each other and we no longer have to carry any guns. Go to your local gym, your fighting gym, whether it's jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, start to learn how to fight. The fact that you are in a orgy-bodgy when you're in grade 2 doesn't matter. Learn how to use this, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man. Learn the law. Sit down after this video, go to Google, find out when can I shoot someone, when can I punch someone in their throat, when do I need to run away, when do I need to do X, Y, and Z. Guys, look after yourselves. We don't live in the best of countries at the best of times. That video should have been one of those wake-up calls. It could have been you, could have been your loved one. We never know, and we hope it never happens. But again, the reality of this country is the reality of this country. RIP to the gentleman that lost his life. It was very unfortunate how things panned out, but they acted how they acted, and this is just my 2 cents. Stay safe, Gantanda, have yourselves a blessed day.